Hey, what's up, guys? So we are up and running. Figured I'd do like just a live stream, just kind of hang out with you guys for a bit. It's a Saturday. I've got some videos that I want to work on, but I figured kind of before I do that, get things going, I just kind of kick back, relax, and do like a live stream video with you guys. I haven't really done one of these before on YouTube. I don't think I've done some stuff on I think like CES and SEMA where I've streamed some stuff, but that was more on Facebook. I don't think I've done some live stuff. Anyways, I figured I'd just hop in, say hi to you guys. We can do like a Q&A. We can chat about radar detectors and laser jammers. Be happy to share with you guys as far as things that I'm working on, upcoming videos that I got. So anyway, just figured I'd stop in and say hi. So hey, everybody. There's like a text box if you guys want to say hi, if you've got any questions, if you want to share kind of what you guys have been working on. Let me know if the audio and the video looks good as well. I'm on my laptop and I've got a microphone plugged in here as well. So anyway, figured I'd sit down and do a live stream and just kind of hang out. So anyways, kind of curious to hear as far as from you guys, what you guys have been up to. Any new hardware from the V1 from Calvin? Not really. We're waiting for the V1 to get updates. I mean, there's patents that we've had for years, like applications and stuff. But that's the most that we've heard from V1. No new hardware, no new software. The big updates have been the software stuff. So V1 driver, JBV1. My name is Ariel. Hey, hey, Dennis. So as far as the updates, hello from Burbank. Hey, everything good in audio? Oh, thanks. Okay, so V1 stuff. V1 driver, it's a really cool third-party app, iOS initially, now also for Android. I just did a tutorial on my website going over how to set it up and what all the settings mean. I think Yavi1, but continues to be updated. There's also JBV1, a third-party app, which is really cool. I've been playing with that. There's some super creative stuff that I've never seen anybody do with any radar detector. Really cool stuff with JBV1. So that's something I've been testing with as well. What's the difference in radar bands like Ka, K, and X? Why is that important to know? Okay, so basically, you know how your car radio has different frequencies, like 98.5 FM, 101.3 FM, that kind of stuff, different frequencies for your different radio stations. Same idea with radar. There's different frequencies that police can use. On Ka band, there's 33.8, 34.7 gigahertz and 35.5. There's also very different frequencies. K-band is around 24 gigahertz and X-band is around 10 gigahertz. Basically, as technology changes, antennas get smaller, things work better, and they're kind of going to higher frequency stuff. All that really matters ultimately is cops like to have smaller antennas, so Ka takes less room on their dash. It's also more likely to be legitimate because there's not a lot of false sources on Ka versus K-band. Police can use that frequency to transmit for police radar, and it's also open to the public, so they can use it for blind spot monitoring and door openers, and so there's just more people who can use K-band as opposed to Ka, so that's why there's a false one. But really, it's just different frequency antennas. That's all the difference is. When will the Uniden R3 hopefully fix laser false alerts? Yeah, I know, that's a weird one. People seem to be reporting it. It seems to usually be triggered to like phones with the sensors here. A lot of times that can trigger a false laser alert on the Uniden R3. Not always, though. I'm not totally sure what's causing it, but I don't know. I don't get them personally. I know some people do. I would just rely on ALPs anyways for lasers. So yeah, it's kind of annoying, but I guess not a huge deal at the end of the day. But I do hope that they figure out whatever's going on there, What's the least expensive laser jammer by SatFan? You can get a used one. I mean, you can get blinder HP 905s or LIs for $200-300. You can find them used, and they work well against some of the older guns that you see on the market. I generally shy away from the less expensive laser jammers because the main issue typically is that they're not being updated. They don't keep you up to date with the new laser guns that are coming out. And if you're going to be drilling holes in your car and either doing the installation yourself or hiring a professional, yes, you may save a couple $100 on the product itself, but then you're not getting future-proofed. It's not a lot of times a very good jammer. Maybe it is. It's just kind of one of those things where usually it's worth spending a few extra $100 to get a good quality jammer. And then once you take the time to install it and it's going to be good for years, it just typically makes sense to get a good jammer because of all the extra costs associated with installation and how difficult it is to switch. And so there's some less expensive ones, but I typically don't recommend them for that reason. What radar detector do I use? By FR Gamer. I use a different detector every day. For me, it's not really one detector. I mean, I want to see how they compare, So how does the BSM filtering with this detector compare to that one, or the features or the interface? I've been focusing more on remotes lately. I plan on doing a video talking about the Stinger versus a NetRadar DSP versus Rodenso RCM versus Max CI. And so I've been focusing more on that stuff lately. I've also been running the V1 just to try out some of the third-party apps. But if I actually need a detector, R3. So it's in my car. It's always there. I have an R1 here on my desk, so I can use it just to kind of go through menus and whatnot. But in my car, the R3. Let's see, by Fahad Siddiqui. Does bouncing radar make any difference in performance? Not really. I mean, people wonder about that. Sometimes with these detectors, they can bounce a little bit on the windshield. I wouldn't really worry about it. Just give it a good mount in general. If you've got bumpy roads or hard suspension or whatever, it'll vibrate a little bit, but it shouldn't make a big difference. Call me what you want. Do you keep up with the use of MRCD in the US? Yes. So what I've heard, that's one of the nice things about the forum is we have a lot of people who can report what they find. And so people are actually seeing them in New York. It's what I talk about in the videos. I've heard somebody mention that they're in Texas, but I haven't seen any videos, confirmation photos, or anything. It's kind of one of those things where it might gradually show up. We already have detectors that can detect against it. It's nice to get something. Here's the Redenso Pro M that can already detect it. The R3, they're adding support for it. Most of the remotes have it. So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of coming, but it's not too big of a deal. So if it shows up more, cool. If not, cool. Whatever. Awesome. How tall are you? Thanks. 5'10". Cool. Let's see. Okay, let's see. I just got a 17-year-old Mercedes-Benz. Will the R3 have any difficulties with the windshield on this older model? Probably not. The difficulties with the windshield, it's usually like if you have heated windshields or that kind of stuff. That tech is a little bit newer. I mean, I know some of the higher-end luxury cars like Mercedes, they had them earlier on. But typically, you're going to be fine. The good check with that is just take a radar detector, and you can always, put it inside the car and put it outside the car like that and see if the signal strength changes. But I doubt on an older Mercedes, if it's that old, that you're going to have any issues. So cool. Is there a new band of radar coming out? KU by Tomcat 172002. No. So the story with KU, there's 3 primary bands of radar that you'll actually see in the US: X band, K band, and KA. As I mentioned earlier in the video, cops are tending to go to smaller antennas, higher frequency, smaller antennas, takes up less room on the dash. Awesome. Now, KU, it's a big antenna. It's around 13 gigahertz, so it's really close to X band, which is 10 gigahertz. So the antennas are huge. There's no reason at all for police to move to a larger KU band antenna. It was approved years ago, and there was kind of this scare. It wound up being more of a marketing thing where companies are like, we need a reason to differentiate ourselves and to sell products. So we can detect KU. Be prepared for when it comes to the US. And it became more of a marketing thing, kind of like pop, and we can detect the latest instant-on radar guns. Awesome. Whatever. With KU, it was more of a marketing thing. There's no guns that are developed or sold or used in the US for KU. So it's approved, but you'll never see it. So who cares? Whatever. Let's see. How much did all of the radar or LiDAR guns cost that you bought by FR Gamer? Depends. When I first started, I bought everything. My Pro Laser 3, I paid $1,200 for that gun. Now you can get them for like $300. And when I see that and I've been watching the price go down, I'm like, I'm never going to get my money back out of that gun. So I'm like, I'm just going to hold on to it and whatever, Radar detectors, yeah, I bought them. Now it's kind of cool. I can get companies to send them to me for testing and review purposes, or people on RDF a lot of times will loan me detectors and radar guns, which is nice because this stuff is expensive, and I can accomplish a lot more with other people's help if I don't have to pay out of pocket for everything, and I can borrow stuff from you guys or people on the forums. It allows me to accomplish a lot more. And, I always mention that in the videos. This was company sent it to me, or it's borrowed from such and such forum member. So that's definitely helpful. But a lot of the stuff, I mean, yeah, I bought, they're expensive. I don't really get any discounts other than you guys. I mean, the price is the price, and I buy them just like you guys, and then I test them, so yeah. Let's see. Do you resell your Rocky Mountain radar detectors? No, I return them to Amazon. I bought them there specifically because the return policy is awesome, and I just sent them back. Let's see. I now believe that battery advancement would allow Eiffel-powered radar detector to be functional even if you had to charge it. I'm not sure what that is, Dennis. Eiffel power. Usually the battery-powered ones, they have to make a lot of compromises to save on power, and so the performance is pretty bad. And the Escort, like for example, hasn't updated the Solo S4, so there's no reason to get them. Some people like the battery ones. I'm not a fan. Let's see. By Isaiah, when was the last time you got a speeding ticket? Years ago. I was in Arizona, I think. This was before I got into radar detectors, and I was like driving cross country or something, and I'd gotten off the highway, and I was still used to doing highway speeds, and I was back on the city, and I was kind of slowing down to city speeds, and the cop pulled me over and gave me a ticket. I didn't slow down, I guess, fast enough, and I was just so used to cruising, that I didn't slow down in time, and he gave me a ticket. That sucked. But that was years ago. I haven't gotten any tickets, knock on wood, my radar detector. Yeah, so that's good. Let's see, Clash with Neo, Cobra DSP 9200 BT, a good detector? Actually, yeah, so funny story with that one. Cobra and Escort merged. They got bought out by Monomoy. Parent company kind of shared a lot of the technology. Cobra used a lot of Escort's technology in that detector, and so the performance was surprisingly good. Filtering was surprisingly good, but they really want to separate, Escort versus Cobra. They don't want them to be too close, and so they discontinued that detector. And I actually asked them about this one. They're like, well, we're not planning on putting that technology in any other Cobra product because we do want to separate it. So that was kind of this like one-off deal. It was kind of cool because you could get it, relatively inexpensive, and there were issues, no lockouts, and the app is stupid the way it functioned. But as a radar detector, it was like the one Cobra detector that's kind of the exception to the rule that Cobra suck, So, yeah. Let's see. All right, it's from Hero of Mine. Hey, man, how are you? Good. How are you doing? I have done several ALP and NetRadar or STIR Plus installs. Cool. Currently have the STIR Plus on my M5, and I think it gets too many false alerts. Is it still good? Yeah. So STIR Plus, I used to own one too before all the new remotes came out. Great detector in terms of performance, RDD immune, lockouts, red light camera alerts, features and stuff. It's good, but it's an M3, like the Escort Redline. I mean, it pretty much has no BSM filtering. Yes, you've got your lockouts, but God, that thing will false. And so that's one of the reasons that everybody's been switching over to the NetRadar or Renetto RCM or the new Escort Max CI or something with better falsing, BSM filtering. So performance of the Plus, great, totally, but the filtering isn't there if you need BSM filtering. So for most people, it's one of the main reasons I sold mine. Actually, no, funny story with my STIR Plus, mine got stolen, believe it or not. The one that I had, there's an issue with the GPS antenna or something, check receiver wiring. And so I sent it back to Escort/Beltronics for repair. They fixed it, cool, sent it back to me, sent by UPS or something. And I was at work at the time, and so I gave authorization for them to drop it off on my doorstep without a signature release thing. Came home, it was gone. Somebody had stolen my repaired Plus off my doorstep, and I never saw it again. And there was nothing I could do because I gave them permission to release it without a signature. And because I did that, they were no longer liable for it, and it was up on me. And so I used to have a Plus, and it got stolen. So that's actually why I don't have a Plus anymore. But yeah, so funny story. I don't think I've shared that one before. Let's see. What's annoying about the NetRadar? You need to use your smartphone with it. I agree. It's annoying. Yeah, it's not always bad. Like some detectors like the V1, if the smartphone stuff is good, it's fine. It's not a big deal, but I'm not really a huge fan of the app and some of the compromises that you have. Like the mute button on the control pad doesn't work on radar if you add Bluetooth, so it's stupid. Yeah. Let's see. Joshua Whiteside, how does the R3 perform against low-powered K-band guns like the Falcon HR? Say hi to my dog. My dog always loves being on my lap. Hi, this is Albus. So he always loves, like when I'm sitting here working at home, he likes to be on my lap. Performs well, tested it, does a good job. So really no complaints with that one. We did find the weird quirk with the Redenso RCM where it was kind of trying to start to filter that out and treating it as a false alert, sort of, kind of. So they need to do some changes to improve the performance and not treat it as a false. But most radar guns, most radar detectors, they're fine against the Raptor RP1 and the Falcon HR. So not a big deal. Hey, Albus. Oh, yeah. Thanks. Say hi. Everybody's saying hi. Hi, Albus. Okay, you want to go back down on my lap? Okay. Do you see arrows coming to the Uniden or any other units in the near future by Thomas Bracton? It wouldn't surprise me at all. It's kind of a no-brainer, like Uniden, they're doing a great job with their detectors. It would totally make sense to add arrows. And so I hope they do. I would love to see a detector with arrows and a Bluetooth API so they can do for the R3 with arrows, whatever it would be, what people have done for the V1 with all the cool stuff that people are doing with third-party apps. If Uniden did an arrow detector with a Bluetooth API that people can connect to, ooh, that could be amazing. So hint, hint, Uniden, if you're watching, do that. Cool. Let's see. I got a question by Daniel P. Hey, Vortex. I got a question. Let's see. I got a Redenso visor mount for my R3 and noticed my radar shakes a little bit while driving. Does this affect performance at all? No, you're fine. Let's see. Do you think, David B., do you think having a detector visible increases your chance of getting pulled over? Maybe. I've heard some cops will say that they won't give you a warning. They're more inclined to give you a ticket. But unless there's a reason for them to pull you over, why would they pull you over if you have a radar detector? I mean, if they catch you speeding, they catch you speeding. If radar detectors are illegal, why would they pull you over for that? You know? So I think it's more of like, if you do get pulled over, they're like, well, I remember some cops saying, I was going to give you a warning. And they point to the radar detector and they're like, well, that's your warning. You already had one. You're getting a ticket. So I have seen that happen before. But yeah. Mark Leon, you didn't answer my question. Okay, sorry, I'm getting 1,000 questions going by. Does K-band jammer exist or work? There used to be some radar jammers. Scorpion made some. They were, I think there's the Blue Raider or something, designed for use overseas. Ridiculously illegal to jam radar, as in like the penalties are like $50,000 or $100,000 and prison to jam radar. So legally, it's like terrible to do it, and technically, it's also pretty challenging to do. There used to be some radar jammers that worked against some of the older guns, but as newer radar guns came out, digital, some of the techniques that they were using for radar jamming didn't work quite as well. Abbas wants to lick my hands all the time, so put him down here so he can do that. So technically pretty challenging, and legally horrible idea. And some of the ones, they like would fall out of tune pretty quickly, and so even if they kind of worked for a while, they would fall out of tune and you had to do them. So, a lot of issues with radar jamming, which is why it's not done. Radar detection, cool. Laser jamming, okay. But radar jamming, no bueno. That's the story on that. The top of my window, let's see, Tomcat. Top of my windshield has a blue tint. Will that affect the performance of radar? Performance to it for laser or radar? For laser, yes. If you're going to be potentially blocking light coming through, it's going to make it tougher for a laser detector to pick up a laser gun. Will that help you avoid a ticket? Not really. Even if it does go off, your speed's already been acquired. Time to pull over, you know? So not really a big deal. For radar, generally it's fine. The whole thing is like, make sure you get, check the tint. Non-metallic, I forget ceramic, I'd have to double check, but usually they're fine. And if you have like a metallic based tint, that will cause an issue. You can just maybe hide it just underneath the tint and you'll be fine. And you can always just do the trick of like find a K-band source or something and put it behind the tint and then just below and see if the signal strength changes. And that's a way that you can verify for yourself. But usually it's okay. Let's see. Alexa Lewis, does your radar detector have a name? No, I don't name my detectors. I don't think I've ever done that. R1, R3.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Alexa doesn't know it either. No. Okay, cool. Let's see. So Scott says, is there a laser jammer that works directly with the R3? Yeah, any laser jammer would work. They're standalone independent devices. And so a radar detector, like an R3, totally standalone and independent. Laser jammer, also totally standalone and independent. They don't integrate necessarily the way Escort's doing with their ZW5s, to where, you know, like the red line, for example, could be you know, you could kill your jammers from your radar detector and not have an additional display. That would be cool, you know, but there's no radar detector, or sorry, no laser jammer that integrates with the R3, so you can control it and kill your jammers from the R3. But you can still run any laser jammer that you want alongside it, because they're independent and complementary tools, if that makes sense. Let's see. Want to try politics? Hell no. But thanks for asking. Let's see. Joseph Cross, can you still get the old Fuzzbusters? No idea. I don't think they sell them new anymore. Probably on eBay or something. You can get them there. Yeah. Trey W. Question on band segmentation on the Max 360C. I have all the options selected on. Is this hurting the performance, or is it fine? Please explain. Alexa Lewis, we named ours Lemon. That's cool. So band segmentation on the Maxes is different than it is on like a red line, for example. On the red line, it actually does turn bands on and off, and it adjusts what the detector sweeps and how it sweeps. And so if you disable bands because it's sweeping less unnecessary radar frequencies, it does improve performance. On the Max, that's not the case. With the Max 360C, I don't know if it actually has band segmentation as an option. I don't think so. I'd have to double check. But with the Maxes, like the Max CI, for example, it's always scanning everything. The international maxes do this too. And so you can turn off frequencies, but that's just in case you happen to get false alerts on those frequencies. The max CI, for example, there was an issue with the Tesla autopilot radar causing false alerts at like 35.8 or something, segment 10. And so they enabled band segmentation, not for performance reasons, but just to allow you to disable certain radar frequencies that would be only false alerts. So there's reasons to do it, but on the Max 360C, for example, because it's always scanning everything and it can do it pretty quickly, there's no performance benefit. And so, yeah, that answers your question. Let's see. Okay, Richard Canales, peace. DFR7 question, does changing frequencies indicate multiple threats? For example, 34.72 to 34.68. Potentially, but not necessarily. If they're that close, a radar detector is not a super precise frequency measurement tool. And so you'll actually see the frequency fluctuate a little bit just normally because it's not super precise, and that happens. And so if it fluctuates a few megahertz, it's probably not a different radar gun. If it's like 34.65 to 34.75 and it jumps that much, okay, now 100 megahertz, that's a big deal. That's going to be another police car. It'll be maybe a different antenna. Maybe he's running front and rear antennas. I'm not sure with the DFR7 if you can see frequency and multiple signals at the same time. I think that's just the R3 and the R1 with the what do they call it? Like multiple alert threat display or whatever it is. With that one, you can do that, but I don't think the DFR7 will show you how many signals you're seeing and the frequency at the same time. So probably it's one signal if they're that close. If the frequencies are very different, then yeah, it's probably multiple ones. Charles Robbins, what's the best radar around? Gosh, that's the question that, like, imagine trying to answer the question, what's the best car? Or, like, what's the best food? A lot of it is personal preference, depends on where you drive. I mean, I have a lot of detectors and I find some are more suited to highway driving, some are more suited to city driving, some are more, I need the RDD immunity. For other detectors, I may not need it. So there's so many good choices that it really depends on, hey buddy, it really depends on kind of what you need, So there's a lot of good choices. But to kind of simplify it, for windshield mounts, I like the R3. The V1's pretty cool with the third-party apps, especially. With Escort, I think their best picks are going to be the Max 360, or if you have Wi-Fi 360C, but I think that feature is a little overrated. So as far as remotes, I'm liking the Max CI, Escort's new remote, actually the best out of all of them. I do like it better than the NetRadar, Redenso, or Stinger, or K40, or Whistler, or any other ones. So I do think with that one, the Escort is the best, but with the windshield mounts, there's more options and more variants on that one. Let's see. Call me what you want. Suggestion for your next Patreon goal, an updated radar detector shootout with the latest models and firmwares. That's something that I would definitely love to do. I went and did that with the remotes recently. I posted the results on my website. But with the remotes, it's interesting because all the top ones, again, that's kind of what I've been thinking about recently, they're all good performers. And so, yeah, some will be better than others, but I don't think that long-range detection is really what differentiates the different remotes. There's other things, like, does it require a phone? Does it have auto lockouts? What's the interface like? How does the audio actually play through your car? Does it have a dedicated speaker? How easy is it to mute radar alerts? And that kind of stuff actually makes a really big difference, and I'm seeing a lot of differences between detectors. In terms of long-range performance, yeah, we can look at the results, but honestly, I don't think that's too big of a deal. Maybe with the windshield mounts, that's a bigger deal. But with remotes, not so much. So, yeah, I'm definitely still doing testing and all, but I'm also wanting to take a look at other aspects too. Let's see. I've been running the R3 for about 4 months now, and I've never gotten a hit with laser. How normal is this? By Isaiah B. Normal. I don't remember the last time I got shot with laser. There's some places where it's mostly radar, some places where it's mostly laser, some places it's a mix. Radar is easier to detect just because if a cop is shooting radar, everybody in the area is going to be able to pick it up. Whereas laser, you're only going to pick it up if he shoots you. And if he shoots you, your detector may not even go off in the first place. And so if they're being equally used, you're just going to pick up more radar just because you can always pick it up if it's in the area, versus laser, tougher to pick up. So yeah, it's normal if you don't see a lot of laser alerts. That's fine. Favorite food? Mangoes? Funny, speaking of which, I'm trying a new beer. I've got Blue Moon, tasty. They have a new mango one that I'm trying. I like mangoes, and so I'm trying this. It's okay. It's a little too sweet. I don't like fruity beers. I like more IPAs and pale ales and stuff, but it's all right. But I like mangoes, which is why I got this one. Dynamite Matt. AV, what happened with the Stinger? Seems software updates are few and far between. Stinger. Stinger's kind of depressing. That was like one of the most detector with the most potential that, God, the firmware updates would fix new things but break some other ones. Basically, it seems like there's a couple issues at play. One, it seems like their engineers are a little maybe spread too thin because they're having to work on US radar, US laser, European radar and laser, Australian and New Zealand radar and laser, and they can really only focus on like one aspect at a time. And it's just, I don't know, they're not really delivering on everything. There's still so many issues with it. And there's also the fact that Stinger's the president, I believe, like the founder, passed away last year. I don't know the full impact of what that means throughout the company, but that's been kind of an issue. So yeah, no drinking and vlogging at the same time. And no drinking and driving, but you can vlog and have a beer. Saturday, whatever. Any V1 upgrades or new look coming? There's a patent for a new display and patents for new stuff, but that was years ago and really nothing coming out for V1. So yeah. Let's see. I was close to be buying a Stinger setup. Ended up going with an R3 and ALPs. Good for you. That was a good choice. Let's see. Thanks for answering my question. You're welcome. Scroll up. Some detectors, okay, Hyper M3. With some detectors using a DC connection and others using an RJ11 jack, do you see a different power connector in the future? It's universal like USB. Not really. Okay, so Redenso, when they came out with their Redenso Pro, they had this like little circular jack right here. And everybody gave them crap for that because everybody was upgrading, was like, hey, we all have the RJ11 jacks. It's installed in our car. There's tons of hardwire cables for this kind of stuff. We want this standard, it's really nice. Yeah. So they wound up, when they released the XP, they switched over. One of the big things and the appeals of it was it used the RJ11, and it's kind of the standard now. I've seen a few radar detectors that use USB. I don't really know what the benefit would be other than you don't have an extra power port. USB runs off 5 volts instead of 12. I don't know how much of a difference that would make on the radar detector too. But I don't really see like a huge benefit for them to do it or a reason. I guess they could, but if the benefit's not there, why would they change a standard, So, yeah. Do you think aliens exist? I do. Yeah. What about you guys? I know it's not the point of the conversation, but yeah. Let's see. Call me what you want. For frequency, radar, or laser detection in your area, RDF is good. Also consider Escort Live. Yeah. There was the RDF-GS, the Radar Detector Forum Geographical Survey, which was basically this community effort of everybody chiming in and saying, here's what radar guns, here's what radar frequencies or laser guns that I'm seeing in my area. And it became this really cool collective place for people to post what they see. How do you set up your detector? Do I have attitude and guns? Do you guys have dragon eyes? All the stuff that people wonder, That's been down for a while. They're still working on bringing it back up. I have a backup of it on my website, like an Excel spreadsheet that somebody had saved, and that's on my website. Thanks to me as my name for pulling that back up, by the way. So, yeah, that's available. You can check it out. Just look at my site for RDFGS, and you'll find it. Let's see. Hey, Vortex, I own a V1 with Yavi1. Is this still an up-to-date, relevant setup? Yes and no. I mean, it's still good. But the new ones, there's a lot more development going on. V1 Driver and JBV1. Those are the two to look at now. There's some nice changes. It supports the V1 CLE, which is faster, lower powered. I like it because it can respond faster to the V1. So when you get an alert, it'll be quicker at actually muting the detector, which is nice. Reconnecting is nice. There's lots of cool new features that are coming out. And so Yavi1 development, there's still some other people who have the source code that are working on it, but I think they've released one beta or something. So there's not really much going on there. So some of the other apps is like where all the excitement is. So there's nothing wrong with Yavi1, but you may just, if you're interested, take a look at V1 Driver or JBV1. There's a lot of info on the forums about that. Are the R3s shipping with the new power cord? Actually, yes. So they are. Let me grab one here. So the new ones, when I got a new one recently, they're shipping with an updated power cable. It's got some reinforced connections here just to prevent this stuff from like breaking off. The tab is a little bit stronger. So there's been some improvements. New detectors are shipping with the new power cables now. So that's nice. R3, laser and K-band goes off randomly here in Washington. Yeah, everybody has K-band false alerts. It's normal. BSMs, grocery stores, there's tons of sources of K-band falses. Laser falsing happens too. Talked a little bit about that earlier. Not exactly sure what's causing it. Usually phones, sometimes other things. Just make sure your phone is not in view of the radar detector on the windshield. So maybe like move them, that kind of stuff. So like the IR stuff emitting there doesn't actually trigger the laser sensor on the detector. So that's maybe the first thing to try out. Let's see. Do you know of a good install shop in California that you recommend? By Steve. Nope. I don't. But if you ask other people on the forums, people who live in California and have shopped around and talked to people, ask people locally. Different companies like Escort or ALP on their website, they actually have recommended dealers. They're not necessarily good. A lot of them probably are if they've got a relationship, but they're more of like they've got a business relationship selling the product, and that's where you can go to buy the thing. The main thing with doing an install is knowing what you want and how it should be done. That's why on my website I've got like install guides that cover how your ALP should be installed and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of installers that are really good at installing and wiring and running the cables and mounting, but they may not necessarily know all the nuances of like laser jammer placement. So your thing is to make sure you know how it should be installed so that you can go over them with options and know like, okay, maybe this spot in the grill or this spot or this spot or that spot may be preferable due to what's kind of behind there or whatever. So you may not know until you actually get in there, but you definitely want to know what you're doing and not just leave it up to them. They may be really good at running wires, but a lot of them don't know laser jammer nuance stuff. So definitely make sure you do a little bit of research. Info for that is on my website too. Let's see. D-Town 313. David B. Any background in public speaking? Not really. I did some training stuff. I like it. I don't know. Hey, Vortex, I have a 360C. Anytime I connect to my car's Wi-Fi or any Wi-Fi, the speed turns white, but won't tell me the speed limit if it's connected to Wi-Fi. That's not right. Yes, so sometimes it won't give you the speed limit if it doesn't know the speed limit for the road that you're on. That usually happens on like smaller roads where the speed limit for that road is not in the database. It should work if you're on major roads or highways. In that situation, it should show up, but if you're on smaller roads, a lot of times it won't have it. Let's see. Good to see you live. Well, I would say good to see you live, but good to talk to you too live, Dwight. Let's see. Have you been asked to be a part of the next Cannonball? Oh, hey, doing live video stuff. Sorry. Let's see. Okay, asked to be a part of the next Cannonball run. No, I do know people in the Cannonball stuff. Here, I can move this real quick if you like. You're not on camera anymore. My wife. Okay. Just bought the new Redenso Pro M. Any testing going to happen soon? Yeah, so there's testing going on. Let's see, I'll mute this. Okay, so that should be good. Any testing? There's testing happening with the Redenso Pro M. I've got mine right here. I'm kind of holding off on really getting into it for two reasons. One, it's a little tough to get, especially in Canada right now. There's some issues with getting it into Canada, both more the RCM than the Pro M. There's also still some things going on. Like they just released a firmware update to help improve the GPS lockouts. So a lot of the stuff is like still, not to say it's being developed, but I don't know. There's still stuff going on there to where I don't feel like, hey, let's review it. And then a lot of stuff changes or you can't even buy it. So what's the point? I mean, I could, but I'm just kind of working on other stuff in the meantime and just kind of waiting for some other stuff to go on with the Redensos before I really get into that. So, yeah. Are you familiar with Alex Roy's Blackbird Audi R8 and the liquid cooled pulse generator? Yeah, I watched his video on it. I saw him at CES. Ran into him there. It was cool. Chit-chatted and stuff. Going to New York in May, I believe. If I got time, I'll hang out with him there too. It'll be cool. But yeah, I'm familiar with his stuff. He's got some cool things going on. I know he's more into the electric car scene and self-driving car stuff now. But yeah. Let's see. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. I just got my ALPs installed. Anyone testing laser in or near St. Louis? Hop on the forums. Ask there. There's a local section on RDF where you can ask if anybody in the area has laser guns and would be willing to help you out. That's a fantastic resource. Go hop there. Let's see. I can't get ways to integrate with Escort Live anymore. Yes. So there used to be an option to do that. I don't know what the agreement was behind the scenes, but it looks like Waze pulled the communication with Escort Live, so Escort Live can no longer get Waze information. I'll turn this. Okay, no longer on camera. And so, anyway, yeah, it doesn't work anymore. It used to. So, welcome to the live stuff where I can't just like edit, cut, and splice stuff together. And I'm like, oh, I got to change something. So that's funny. Let's see. Oh, let's see. D-Town. Okay, the Max 360C speed limit stuff apparently works with Bluetooth, but not Wi-Fi. That is kind of weird. Not really sure what's up with that. Maybe ask Escort because it should work the same either way. Let's see. Hello, Odio. Do you foresee Uniden supporting firmware updates via Mac? I hope so. I think that would be really good. I would love it. I think that's something that they need to do. So they seem to be listening to their customers. So yeah, I would hope that they bring it out. Let's see. All right. Good to see a live feed. Your bud's in Edmonton. Hey, what's up, Haywood? Yeah, good to see you too. Glad you're here. Let's see. Can I run a car on nuclear power? Hope you don't get into an accident. That would be bad. Let's see. Is the current V1 a good buy? Yeah, it's save a lot of money over the Max 360. I know they're running discounts on this one and stuff, but there's a lot of really cool third-party stuff going on with the V1. So yeah, if you're interested in V1 stuff, really cool stuff going on there. What's the next dash cam that you're going to review? My Hyper M3. So dash cam stuff. I want to first do a video about the new firmware updates for the Blackview DR750S. There's been some firmware updates that have come out that have improved that camera and made it, let's see. Improved it, and it's making it even a better camera. But right now in my car, I have a lot of the top ones. I've got the Blackview DR750S, the ThinkWare F800 Pro, and the DoD RC500S. I've got pictures on Instagram and Facebook and stuff if you want to take a look. I've got them in my car. Actually, here's the memory cards. ThinkWare, so that way I can pull it. Blackview and DoD, so I can look at footage and stuff. So I kind of want to do a comparison of like the top, Wi-Fi, 2-channel, GPS, around $400 dash cam. So that's one thing that I want to focus on. I also ordered the new VFO A119 Pro, it's called. So there's a new VFO camera. So I've got the A119 and A119S. So I want to compare all three of those and the Rove C1 Pro. So kind of like the $100 dash cam after I do the $400 one. So that's kind of what I'm working on as far as dash cam stuff. Thank you. You're the go-to for info on Radar, most unbiased information out there. Good. Thank you. That's really what I wanted to create for you guys. It's what I wanted for myself when I got started. And that's why I want to put it out there, is because I remember like that's something I really wanted and I totally understand the value and I want to make it available for you guys. So you're very welcome. I like doing it. Let's see. Another question. Any official announcement when there will be a custom installed Escort Max CI 360 to authorized dealers? It's already available. There's already authorized dealers. You can go in and buy it. The new announcement that's coming out is next month. They're going to have a radar-only version of the Max CI. So if you don't want Escort's laser jammers and you want to pair it with the ALP, you can buy a new radar-only version of the Max CI. So that's going to be something coming out. It'll be available next month. Let's see. Bought an R3 last night and I love it. Excellent. Good. Congratulations. For performance testing, I'm looking at buying a laser gun. Any models you would recommend? And will my wife believe me when I tell her it's a used hairdryer? Maybe not. You can get some laser guns that look like a set of binoculars like this instead of a gun. Maybe that'll be easier to say it's not a laser gun or whatever. Really comes down to just buy whatever's in your area. I got a PL3 because that's the main laser gun that I see around here. And so that's what I want to test against. If you have true speed guns, if you have Dragon Eye guns, get those. Some people will like tougher guns, like maybe a True Speed or a Dragon Eye or something, because they want to try to find holes in their system. And they're like, hey, if I can defeat a tougher gun, excuse me, I can definitely defeat some of the easier guns. I like that rationale, but I also think it's fine. Just get whatever's in your area, or you can get a cheap gun like a PL2 or something. Testing. Oh, that feels better. Cool. Will there be multi-radar support for R series? Yes, it's in development. No time frame. It's coming in a future firmware update. Yes, there will be. I'll have to see how well it does, how the filtering is and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's in development. Anyway, okay, I got a couple more minutes, and then see, my wife has wanted to come out and like have lunch and stuff. So anyway, a couple more minutes, and then we'll head off. Is it safe to say K-band warnings are not cops? No. K-band is still very actively used all over the country, and that's the annoying part. There's some places like California where it's almost exclusively KA, which is great, but there's still a ton of places where K-band is in use. Again, take a look at my website. Just use a search bar and search for like how to find out what radar or laser bands are in use in your area, and you'll find information on that. How can you predict instant on K-band? Oof, that's tough. Sensitive detector that's good at filtering, and a really good ramp up helps. So you can tell the difference. A V1 is really good at this. A BSM will look a little different than a signal that kind of ramps up over time. Yeah, it's a tough thing to do, but yeah. So, okay. Should I turn off X-band in Florida? Yes, you can turn it off almost everywhere. Ohio and New Jersey are the only places where it's really actively in use. There's a lot of kind of bad information, like old stale information that needs to be updated online as far as where X-band is in use. It's in use in some rural places, like some rural parts of Oregon and a couple other places. But in Florida, I believe there's no X-band at all. Turn it off. Cool. That's about it. I think I've got to get going. I know we could sit here and I'll do more of these. These are kind of fun. We'll sit back and chat later. But anyways, I got to go. Okay, I guess last one. Max 360C firmware updated to 1.3. What was that about? It had to do with, I believe, the new one that just came out. I'm going to be doing a video on it. It's the Wi-Fi updates. They improved the Wi-Fi updating process or something like that. Kind of minor, not a big deal. Might as well update anyway. Anyway, cool. Thanks so much for chiming in. It was good chatting with you guys. I got to go, but I'll see you guys in another video. So hope you guys are having a good weekend, and I'll see you later.